Hi, it's Elizabeth here. So I'm going to talk about relationship video number 10, which is in regards to the art and balance of dating too much and too little. So I tend to live my life in balance. If I look at the scales of justice or just scales in general, you kind of want to have things equal on both sides. If you have one thing that's down here, obviously this is excessive and vice versa. So being back into this modern dating world, it's really interesting. And I've talked to my friends, clients, I've gone through experiences myself. There is such an interesting movement in the dating world where they either have too little experience or they have too much. And kind of what I mean by this is that some people go through life as a very decisive human being, and if they don't really find what they're looking for, they kind of cut the cord or they don't go along with it because they don't want to waste time. And so in one way that is really, really good, but they don't really even do short-term dating, like going on a few dates, because they're very, I don't know, connected to their intuition and they know what they want. And so to some degree that's very admirable, but people who don't date, especially because they're living in fear or they're like, nobody likes me or I'm too fat or something like that, they don't date anybody. And then when it comes time to dating somebody, they either kind of freak out or, they don't really know how to handle certain situations. And it's because they don't have that life experience that kind of has given them the backbone. You see this a lot with emotionally unavailable men. Emotionally unavailable men do want and crave the same things that every other man and woman have on the planet in terms of like love and relationships. But the thing is, once the woman starts giving or expressing more interest or coming a little closer, they kind of freak out and they have, the stop sign or they're putting an arm's length barrier right in front of them. And a lot of them don't date, especially long term, because one, the woman doesn't want that, but two, a lot of them are so concerned about losing their freedom or, like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to take vacations or I'm not going to be able to do this like 7-month hiking trip. It's like they're so concerned about losing their freedom that they freak out and then they just continue to live their life. And then when it comes time to them wanting to find a wife and have children, they don't have that life experience and they're continuously going through the same behavioral loop and pattern because they're putting up that border and boundary. It's like you want a family, but you don't want to sacrifice or give up some of your lifestyle habits. I mean, I see this with rock climbers all the time. It's like they're not even at the top of the rock and they're already thinking about like the next adventure. And you see this a lot with hikers. It's like, once they conquered that mountain, then it's like, what's next? It's like they're always thinking about the next adventure, which is fine if that's how people want to live their lives. But I'm just stating this in terms of dating. A lot of people who are like that, who are freedom seekers, outdoor people, they don't really have relationship experience because they're always committing their life to the outdoors or to camping or, to some active pursuit. And when it comes time to something serious, especially if the other person has more life experience, the ball's not going to really be in their favor because it's like the woman or the man is going to want X, Y, and Z, and this person has no level of understanding. It's because they're still like in diapers in sense of being an infant in the world of dating and understanding, sacrifice and borders and boundaries with the opposite gender, especially because certain things in the outdoor industry are so laid back. Like in rock climbing, I have male and female rock climbing friends. Most of the males have girlfriends, so there's nothing, sexually attracted between us, and their girlfriends do come rock climbing as well. But, it's like, to some degree, you can't just go privately rock climb with some guy that has a girlfriend because it's, she's going to be concerned, and that's typically understandable. Now, there's the other way end of the spectrum, which is where people date too much. I see this a lot in Seattle. I mean, you definitely have people who are polyamorous or in open marriages and open relationships where they're either kind of committed with 3 or 4 people, but they're, they have that freedom to date other people, or they're just like online dating junkies, which it's just, they're going through these things like on speed dial and stuff. And they get so much experience that being with one person is a little boring, or it gets to the point where they're dating so many different people without actually committing to being in one relationship. One, it's exciting. Two, they get confused. It's like in the world of spirituality, once you start adopting too many belief systems, the body and the mind and the moral compass gets confused. And I said this in other videos, and I'll say it again. I feel a lot of times in modern dating, people are treating it like they're going down the soda pop aisle. You go down the pop aisle in a grocery store 50, 60 years ago, or I don't know when pop came out, specifically I thought it came out in the early 1900s, but like if you go to Europe, you kind of have 3 choices of pop: Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite. In America, you have an entire aisle dedicated toward sport drinks and soda pop. So you can drink Coke Zero, you can drink Coke Light, you can have regular Coca-Cola, you can also have Diet Coke, you can have Coke with lime in it, Coke with cherry, and Coke with vanilla. Then you have ginger ale. You can also have cranberry ginger ale at the holiday season, and so forth. So there's it's like they're tasting so many different soda pops, but they're confusing themselves because they're not knowing what they want, because they're getting stimulated by so many types of people. And so many people today are searching for their Mr. Perfect or their Mrs. McDreamy, and I think those people exist, but they're going to have flaws and weaknesses just like every other human being. So it's like, when you're dating too much and seeing too many people, especially if you're sleeping with them, like, people are going to get confused. They're not going to really know what they want. It's like, oh, well, she's great in this part of life, but a little unbalanced here, and this woman is great here and really unbalanced there. And so you're always, it's like dating, you're going to have this give and take, but what's fascinating is like, people who date too much tend to start nitpicking at too many superficial things, and it's going to be rooted to a lot of sex. And for some people, sex is the most important thing in a relationship. In other people's, lifestyles, it's not. It's like the actual relationship and the foundation of the relationship is most important, and sex is just kind of like the icing on the cake. It's just an addition that makes it even better. And so I think when you start getting too stimulated, you don't really tend to choose the right type of partners, because you constantly want to keep getting stimulated. And that's where, choosing party guys and girls and people who drink and do all these fun sexual things that are adventurous seem to be more enticing than the person that's a little more stable, that, might want to have something long term or seek a marriage. Sometimes you have to go down one of these 2 roads to realize this, and, understand that each person that comes into our life is a learning lesson that can help set you up on a better path for your future in dating, and your future partner, whoever comes into your life next. So there's definitely an art and a balance to dating. I mean, in America, we have cultural differences in itself. I come from Cleveland. I'm from Middle America. Men from the Midwest, especially Ohio, where a big bulk of my dating experience happened in my 20s and youth, men date with intentions. Out here in the Northwest, it's very casual. Like, the communication is very different. It's like, guys will be like, can I take you on a date? That gives a clear boundary of understanding what it is. And out here in the Northwest, it's like, do you want to hang out? And it's like, to me, hanging out is just kind of like hanging out with your buddy and your bro, and I don't really take it that seriously. So there is, even in America, cultural differences. And the more that we shift around the country, especially Middle America, where jobs aren't as prosperous as the coast, we're coming out here and getting extremely confused ourselves, because people out here don't date the same as they do in other parts of the world. And I've talked to friends who are from Middle America, and I asked, one of my guy friends, it's like, hey, why don't you just ask her out on a date? And he was very hesitant because he goes, look, he's like, I get really invested emotionally, and I invest a lot of time when I date with somebody. And that's a clear indicator that that guy was born and raised and bred with Midwest values where you date with intention. It's not just this casual one-off thing. It's like you're dating or you're friends. It's like nothing is really kind of in between. I mean, sometimes it is, but it's like at least you're giving that one person and that one opportunity a chance. And when you're dating too much, it's like nobody's really getting a chance to get deep and to get raw in conversation and get deep with emotional intimacy, especially when you're having sex with several of the people at the same time. It's like, why would any guy want to commit if he has like 4 girls that he's dating and he's getting sex with 4 different types of women weekly or monthly? Like, I don't know. It's a whole different world that I don't understand. But anyways, I just wanted to share some thoughts about the art and the balance of dating too much versus too little. I think if you're really looking for something authentic in your life, you do have to invest time in one person. It's good to be casual and, to date around for a little bit. The common theme now is like people have 5 or 6 options. You kind of give it 3 months and then you start narrowing it down. Like, I don't think that there's a timeline on anything specific in life. Things just kind of cultivate and manifest at the time that it's meant to. Obviously, we humans have to put our work into that. But there's definitely a balance. It's like doing nothing because you're too scared of getting hurt, or you're not, at least experiencing dating. Like, I've had so many guy friends in my life from playing sports. I could clearly understand that I could never date a guy like my friend Ben, but I could definitely date a guy like my friend John. You know what I mean? So it's like you can kind of learn from just these friendships that you have of people who are of the opposite gender. All right, these are some thoughts below. I would love to hear what you think about this topic. Please feel free to comment, subscribe, help me on Patreon if you'd like, and talk to you guys soon. Bye.